Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Dychronic, your host here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to tell you where the Xur is, his inventory, his random rolls, my recommendations, and all that whatnot for August 14th, 2020. First and foremost, I know, my armor's not even glowing, I get it. I'm not ahead of the curve. I'm not a nerd who has completed all 3 characters by this point. Calling somebody out very specifically, hopefully he watches this video. I will be taking my time with this and learning about every step and the best ways to do these things, and of course making my guide coming up this Sunday. If you don't know, I make event guides with beautiful docs similarly to how I do my spreadsheets, so stay tuned for that. And on top of that, I also live stream right after these Xur videos, so come check that out in the description down below. Some Twitch links, public lobbies, open lobbies, stuff like that, so come join us in this stupid grind we have in Destiny 2. First and foremost, if you want to find the Xur, you can be found on Titan. Go over to the rig, make your way over here into this little house thing, and of course you can find the Xur in his regular location. This is a high overview of everything that he does have available in case this is all you cared about. They must have redone the icon for the Graviton Lance here, because it looks different. As for the weapon today, definitely, look at this, it looks definitely new and shiny. For the weapon today, we have the Graviton Lance, with a bunch of different ornaments, which I do not believe I have all of the ornaments, but a bunch of ornaments that make it look really, really nice. Firstly, this weapon used to be an absolute destruction hound in the Crucible, probably still fares decently in the Crucible because of the way it works, but it's one of those infinite range weapons, and you don't really need infinite range, and it doesn't do the same as it used to. Now, if you've never heard of it, it's basically a 2-burst pulse rifle where the first shot does next to no damage and the second shot does a lot of damage, definitely putting it in line with the pulse rifles in time to kill, and there is no damage fall off with that second shot whatsoever. So generally it acts more like a scout rifle. Both shots shoot very quickly after each other, and it basically acts like a scout rifle. You don't have to worry about the burst flying off target. That second shot generally goes right where that first shot is, with some minor differences. Now these days I would say it's definitely bad for PvE, and it's definitely maybe averaging for PvP. It's not what it used to be, but it's definitely worth a try if you've never tried it. As far as its intrinsic trait, we have the Cosmology, where you kill somebody, they explode into some void detonation, and it spawns void projectiles that track down targets, which is actually pretty big. Used to do a lot more damage than it does these days, and let me tell you, I got a lot of double kills by accident. For the Hunter Exotic, we have the Ophidius Spathe. Basically gives you 2 melee charges when you're using the knives. And that's all that it does. Now, some people have found that this is useful when using it with Solar Plexus, which increases your solar melee damage, and you probably could do some pretty cool stuff. You cannot one-shot knife in the body at any point in PvP with this. I thought about that, and that is not the case. You still have to go for those headshots to get the kill. However, I do believe the other knife does not one-shot headshot, and that might bring it up to a one-shot headshot, but even then, it's still not something that I'd rather use very often. The fact is, I don't really like things with a second charge. The overflow charging is really not that much of a benefit in my opinion. I'd almost always rather go for faster charging, and oftentimes a second melee I'd rather use with a specific exotic. So I don't really like these kinds of exotics, but obviously it does actually have a pretty good role. If you haven't seen it, it's a primary in strength, secondary in recovery, which is perfect synergy for this exotic, and of course great for PvP. So if you're going to be using this thing, it has a great role, and I'd recommend you pick this one up if you want it. And it does have an ornament that makes it look, ooh, it gives it a little cobra out the front. That's kind of cool. I didn't realize it did that. I got a real question here. In this little icon for Jacarina, where is the blue? Okay, never mind. I don't care. Anyways, moving on to the Titan Exotic, we have the MK44 Stand-Asides. It's often known as the poor man's insurmountable skull fort, or more specifically, the universal insurmountable skull fort, where you get an overshield when you're using your shoulder charge and you're up to shoulder charge speed with full health, and when you hit with these abilities, you get a portion of your melee energy back. You basically get half of your melee energy back from getting hits with it. So like I said, it's a poor man's insurmountable skull fort that's more universal across all of the shoulder charges. That being said, it's really not that necessary. If you're going to be using solar, you should use Hellfire Heart so you can get your shoulder charge 4 times faster, or even without your super twice as fast, so it basically puts this out of a job. For the arc, obviously you want to use Insurmountable Skull Fort, and then for the void, you don't really care that much about your shoulder charge. You'd rather go with Doomfang Pauldron, which is really strong these days. So literally, this thing has no place. As far as the role goes, primary in recovery with a high 21 stat is pretty freaking good. Secondary in strength is exactly what you want on this exotic, so I'd say it's a very above average and synergetic role for this particular exotic. It's just It's not a very good exotic. I get the idea, but there's no instance that I would use this unless I don't have other things. And finally, for the Warlock Exotic, we have the Skull of Dharmkara. Now this one's pretty straightforward. You get additional resistance while using Nova Bomb. That's not what really people care about. Your Nova Bomb kills grant super energy. Now this has been nerfed many times into the ground. Used to be insane. You get like 4 or 5 kills. You get your entire super back. That's no longer the case. It's more like you are very, very lucky. You could probably get half your super back. But even then, getting any amount of your super back means you can use your super more often, and that is a powerful thing. Especially with Nova Bomb, a very strong and very good scaling super. Overall, no matter what, I would recommend this. As far as a role goes, Primary and Recovery is great for Warlocks and just great in general. Secondary in Mobility and Discipline are definitely things that you can use and are really nice on Warlocks, but I definitely like to see a lot more in Intellect, since this is based highly in Intellect. And the total stats of 60 is also on the low side, so not the best kind of role, but not a bad role for this particular exotic either. It does have a low resilience, which is good to see, and it also has an ornament to make it look a little bit different. Outside of that, make sure you're picking up your 5 of Swords for high scoring Nightfall and the regular Nightfalls, picking up your Invitation 9 for some powerful gear and some lore, and of course, picking up your exotic engram, guaranteeing you an exotic that you do not have from any of the world drops, and a guaranteed high stat rolls. I don't have enough space in my chest, but if you got to see that, you'd see that it is a high stat roll, meaning that it's around 60 points or up for total stats, which is a good thing. You want to make sure you get a lot of good exotics with high stat rolls so you can do better. But yeah, that is going to be the end of the video. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions, concerns, tips, tricks, or something I missed you want to say hello. Also, make sure you, again, come check out my live stream, which I do right after these videos. I have a lot of live streams. I do about 4 a week. I have a co-host that also does some stuff, so come check us out. We do have a lot of fun. We play Destiny 2. We play other games. A lot of good stuff. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Hope you guys did enjoy. My name is Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Huzzah!